What's up everybody, this is T from Mojo Break Gaming bringing you a BT9 Gallantmon deck profile. I recently took first place in an online Digimon tournament with Gallantmon.
What?
I absolutely feel that Gallantmon is a heavily slept on deck. It's actually been topping pretty significant numbers in tournaments. Now I will say that Gallantmon is in a place where it's not the best deck in the format. I would say Gallantmon is pretty mid, but it's still competitive, but it could still hang with the big boys. It's a deck that if your opponent actually doesn't know what it's trying to do and give you resources to just completely pop off, they're gonna have so much trouble with Gallantmon. So I'm gonna show you this spicy deck profile and let's get right to it. So we keep it simple out here. We start off with the babies, 4 copies of Digimon from EX02. When attacking, if you have a Gallantmon or a Groundmon or Gallantmon name, and when you're attacking, you just draw 1 card. I think drawing cards and cycling through your deck is just so much more important than a DP buff at the end of the day. Keep it simple with 4 EX2 Digimons. Moving on, we have 4 copies of the starter deck Gallantmon. This is where you can warp Digivolve into a Gallantmon name if your opponent has a level 6 or higher. And it's a nice inheritable down here is once per turn when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, trigger draw 1 card. So really good. Next up we have 4 copies of the EX02 Gallantmon. This is on play. You could reveal the top 4 cards of your deck and you can add 1 Groundmon or Gallantmon in its name and 1 Takato among them to your hand. And it's got a nice inheritable. When attacking, if this Digimon has Groundmon or Gallantmon in its name, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3k DP or less. Really solid for just smacking those rookies off the field. And next up we have 4 copies of the brand new BT9 Gallantmon X antibody. This is when Digivolving, and this is a 0 cost Digivolve on top of a Gallantmon name. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3k DP or less. When I was in the tournament and my opponent passed me to 3 memory, I played this Gallantmon for 3 memory, then I evoed into Gallantmon X for 0. I popped his Digimon, gaining resources of drawing a card on the evo and drawing a card for Gallantmon. When a Digimon is deleted, draw another card. So I just got 2 draws and I popped something off the field. Crazy card, love this card. Wouldn't change it. That is the rookies. We are moving on to our level 4s. We have 4 copies of the starter deck Groundmon. This Groundmon is absolutely insane. You have to run 4 of it. This is an inheritable. When an opponent's Digimon is deleted, what we do in Gallantmon all the time, we gain 1 memory. There's so much memory potential gain in Gallantmon if your opponent leaves little DP Digimon on the field for us to use our effects to delete your Digimon and gain memory and build our combo resources to just destroy security. It's absolutely insane. You gotta run this Groundmon. It's crazy with the combos. It's the best one you want to see. Next up we run 4 copies of this Gallantmon X antibody, brand new from BT9. This is a 0 Digivolve on a Groundmon name, same thing as like the Gallantmon X antibody. This is the whole theme of BT9 that we just build our stacks. This is your turn on an inheritable. You can add 1,000 to the maximum DP of DP deletion effects. So this is not a once per turn thing. This is during your turn. You can do as much as you want as long as you can delete something. You can add 1,000 DP to a deletion effect. For example, if you don't know what that means, we'll go right here to this Gallantmon, looking at this inheritable right here. This is when attacking, if this Digimon has Groundmon or Gallantmon in its name, we can delete something up to 3k DP or less. But with this inheritable, if obviously we had another Digimon on top to gain that inheritable, we can add 1,000 to that so that we could delete something that's 4,000. 4 Groundmon X antibody, 4 regular Groundmon for the starter deck. That's all we run. Next up, moving on to the level 5s, 3 copies of War Groundmon from the starter deck. Surpriser. This is when attacking, you can delete one of your opponent's 3k Digimon or less. This brings me back to the point where you can add 1,000 DP to those deletion effects, so potentially even deleting like something 4k or 5k if you have the right stacks. We have this card in the deck particularly because we like this inheritable of when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, we get a security +1 for the turn. Inheritable is really good later on. Next level 5s we play are 3 copies of the brand new War Groundmon X antibody from BT9. This is a Digivolve of 0 when we Digivolve on top of a Groundmon name. When Digivolving until the end of our opponent's turn, 2 of their Digimon gain on deletion lose 1 memory. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So if you have a War Groundmon name in the sources, or if you have a X antibody option card, the white option card in the sources when you place it underneath, you can choose any number of your opponent's Digimon whose total adds up to 6,000 or less and delete them. Let's say if we have Wargreymon, in the breeding, we raise it up, we go into the Wargrow X antibody for free. So if they were to choke us at 1 memory and they had Digimon that we are able to delete with little DP, we can delete up to 6,000. And with these inheritables, we can add 1,000. So we could delete up to 8,000 DP on their field. That would gain us a memory for the chosen 2 Digimon that we wanted to delete on their board, which would give us 2 memory if we deleted 2 things. Also with the inheritable of having Growlmon in the sources of gaining 1 memory underneath here. Absolutely insane. This is what really gets your plays started. If you just have Wargreymon in breeding and you're ready to bring this guy out next turn, you're just doing crazy plays if you have all of your pieces. Even if you just have to Digivolve into the Wargreymon X and you don't have the Wargreymon, you're still giving your opponent on deletion lose 1 memory for 2 of their Digimon that you choose. If they just want to just swing at security and get some chip damage, but they're gonna, blow up and they're just expecting to just get smacked in security, they're still gonna lose 1 memory at the end of that attack. Still really giving you a lot of resources in general and really giving your opponents a lot to think about if they actually do need that memory. Next up, we run 3 copies of Rizegreymon. I did this in my last deck profile. I still feel Rizegreymon is very relevant in Gallantmon. Now, this is really a flex spot in my opinion, where you can Digiburst 2, and this is during your main, so you could do this as much as you want, having so many sources of having the X antibodies. Just building stacks and be able to have those sources to Digiburst off for Rizegreymon is just really, really good. I like the synergy with the Rizegreymon. That's why I do keep it in the deck. I might actually cut this off and leave this at 2, maybe add in some more another option card, maybe up my level 4s to 9 instead of 8. For now, I'm just leaving it at this, and that's what I'm rocking with. Next up, we are running 3 copies of starter deck Gallantmon. This Gallantmon is actually really, really good. At first, I didn't really believe in this Gallantmon. I was always sticking with the EX2 Gallantmon, where you get 2k DP, and it's pretty much when you attack, you can pretty much have Atomic Blaster on when attacking if you have a red Tamer in play. But considering we're in an OTK meta currently of just building stacks and just going crazy into security, this Gallantmon is really, really good for that. This Gallantmon in general just has a security +1 as a skill, and when attacking, you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4k DP or less, and if no Digimon was deleted by this effect, this Digimon gets 3k DP for the turn. So you're guaranteeing Gallantmon to get a 3k buff. That's what you mainly want him for, to swing into security for 2 checks for 14k. If you have the Wargreymon underneath and you deleted something the turn, you can swing for 3 checks at 14. Next up, we run 3 copies of the brand new Gallantmon X. This card is absolutely insane. You can Digivolve this on top of a normal Gallantmon name, so you could Digivolve on top of this for 1 memory. And when Digivolving, you could delete the lowest DP Digimon on your opponent's field. If nothing was deleted by this effect, you can unsuspend this Digimon. So if Gallantmon was suspended and we Evo into this on top of this Gallantmon for 1, we can restand if we're not deleting anything. And then once per turn, if you have Gallantmon or X antibody in the sources, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, it doesn't matter how it's deleted, during your turn, once per turn, you'll trash the top of your opponent's security stack, clearing their board of having control and getting rid of their security at the same time. I find that really unique about Gallantmon. It's real big brain, and it's very, very rewarding. We are moving on to the level 7s. Yes, we have 2 copies of the boy Crimson Mode. Crimson Mode is still absolutely insane. When Digivolving, you can delete all your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP. So if they had like stacks of the highest DP, you can just literally board wipe them, which is absolutely potentially insane. And when attacking, you can trash the top card of your opponent's security stack and add 1 number of trash cards for every 10 cards in your opponent's trash. So in the current format, Crimson Mode is so good because once you go into Crimson Mode and you have Takato in play, giving your Gallantmon name Blitz will allow us to delete our opponent's big stack of X antibody, double level 3s, double level 4s, double level 5s, and it's just bringing so many cards in the trash, not including the ones actually being trashed in security, giving you that threshold number of having that special number 10 cards in the trash. So I just find Gallantmon Crimson just so big brain. The best part about this card is asking your opponent, hey, how many cards do you have in trash? They just know what's coming. And next up, we run 4 copies of Takato. It gives our Growlmon and Gallantmon names. When digivolving, it gives us Blitz. And our turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, we can suspend this tamer to gain 1 memory, which is giving us tons of resources to actually gain memory and extend our combo plays. So we play 4 copies of Tamer Takato. Really good tamer. And next up, we run 1 copy of Hero, 1 copy of Tai Kamiya. Sometimes I like the security +1, sometimes I like the DP buff, so I just run 1 of each. I might actually just leave this at 2 Hero instead of just Tai Kamiya. Originally, I had 2 Hero, but I was just trying out the Tai, but for the tournament, it actually did come in handy. That security +1 came in handy, and you know, sometimes it is just nice to have security +1. Next up, we just run 2 copies of X Antibody, and you can play this card if you just have a Digimon in play. You don't need to meet the color requirements. It's a security effect, gain 1 memory and add it to your hand. So you place this underneath one of your Digimon, and then you have these inheritables of all turns. Effects can't trash X Antibody Digivolution cards. So if it has X Antibody in the traits, you can't trash those cards. And when attacking, you can Digivolve into a Digimon card with X Antibody from your hand for its Digivolution cost. Next up, we run just our good old 3 copies of Gaia Force. Hey, you got that OG artwork right there from the Gaia Red starter deck. Just 3 basic Gaia Forces. I just like the delete when your opponent's Digimon. I'm not a fan of Megalo Blaster because we're just building big stacks in BT9, and Megalo Blaster just can't delete those huge bodies, but Gaia Force can do the trick. And then we're just going to end it off with 2 copies of Red Memory Boost. This is just good for searching your deck for certain pieces that you do need. You reveal the top 4 and you add a red Digimon to your hand, and then main delay, you can gain 2 memory. This is just really good for extending your plays and just when you need extra memory to go into your level 4s or level 5s and just build stacks and just, you know, use your memory to however you want to extend your combo plays. You know, y'all know what Red Memory Boost does. So that just about wraps up the deck profile. Hope y'all enjoyed this video, and look out for our future videos where we're going to be playing the current decks in this format, battling each other, and more deck profiles, and just bringing more content to the channel. So hope y'all enjoyed this deck profile. Peace out, take it easy, laters.